All right, good morning. We'll just jump straight into the packet. There's a little bit of news out there. Everybody seems to be focused on seeding, getting ready to seed. So I'd say that's where most everybody's at this morning. I don't know if we've ever had this small of a group online, but anyway, jump into the packet, take a look at pricing. Current pricing, we were out yesterday at 685. Let's take a look, see. Um, Futures are trading up right now, so we'll probably see another push to that this morning. You will notice there's an inverse there on the bid sheet. Mostly just looking for a little bit of title and some wheat. So completely honest, that's why we see that. A lot of times, you see an inverse. The months that are lower, usually the price when that inverse is out tends towards that lower price, not the lower price ones coming up to meet the higher price on that inverse. So if that goes away, potentially we could see the price slip a little bit. Like I said, though, it looks like at the moment I'm on a 10-minute delay on my phone, but we've got futures trading up about 11 cents at the moment. So if that continues through, we'll probably see a little push in cash again today. That, and given the fact that there was some business that the exporters were working on last night, I have not heard any results on that yet. And then there was a couple different cargoes that traded the night before. So we're starting to get that demand back in the market. It's one of those fine lines, though. If we all of a sudden start trading and we've got to price ourselves out of things real quick, that demand could slow up. Keeping it down here for a little bit kind of keeps spurring that demand, the buying coming in, and a slow increase in price is probably more sustainable than a quick jump up and then everybody gets a little fidgety. Or we jump up, everybody gets nervous and they'll buy like mad. Who knows? So it's kind of like trying to figure out the farmer psychology. If I keep raising prices, you guys don't sell, but sometimes if I drop them, I buy more bushels on a drop than I do on an up day. So we've got that going on. Let's take a look at export sales summary. Here, what I feel like we've got some good news. That increase in demand actually starting to get some traction. Again, we'll look at the top of the page 3, about a quarter of the way in from the right-hand side up there at the top, that white wheat column. Go down to the first bold number line, that 4.9. That's 4.9 million bushels sold for that week that ended 9/7. So that's a pretty dang good number. We take a look up through the recent 10 weeks. It's well ahead of the 10-week average. But what I like to look at is, say those last, counting this week, take a look at the last 5 weeks that have traded versus the prior 5 in that 10-year, and it's, or that 10-week, excuse me. And it's a perfect example of look where we've been and where we're going now. So, we had those weeks of horrible export sales through harvest. And so we knew that shipping was going to be slow coming up. And now we're starting to get those buyers back in the market. One is a timing deal. The other, obviously, is the price is down at a point where they feel that there's good value there. You're starting to get, different rumors that we've been hearing for months around the world on worldwide production and issues. It's starting to become more reality now versus just the rumors that travel around the industry. And we'll look at a few of those here in a minute. But definitely seeing export sales picking up. We want to take a look at page 10. That's your breakdown of the white wheat. Again, it's not only soft white on these things, it also includes hard white, but that's such a minor portion of the U.S. exports. It's mostly soft white. It's pretty easy to tell when it's something else because it'll be a different shipping color on there. Take a look at our second from the bottom on the right-hand side, the top 10 weekly white wheat export. destinations. The big one in for the week is unknown. There were rumors, floating around a couple weeks ago that potentially China was in the market and looking. Never heard, a confirmation that they actually bought anything. Not always, but sometimes those Chinese sales show up as unknown, and then a week or two later, it'll get switched over and actually show, or when it actually gets shipped, it'll get switched to China. And so you take a look at the bottom, we don't have China in the lineup on the yearly buyers yet. So, I mean, there's a possibility that that could be them. Could also be, somewhere else. A lot of times they'll play those tricks, especially if a mill or a milling company they purchase privately. They've got mills in different countries. They can hold that information back for a little while before they release and say actually which country it's going to. So that's a game that gets played. I guess if I was you guys, I'd be hopeful it was China and they're in the market right now. We've heard that they had, the flooding months and months back, and it was going to be pretty impactful to their crop, the quality. Hard to believe after the year we had. Too much rain's a bad thing, but sounds like a lot of it wasn't even feed quality. So, of course, you never know what to believe on the news out of those parts of the world, as I say almost every meeting. So if that's moving along, we've also got to figure, there's been a lot of chatter about India this year. India has been a net exporter of wheat for quite a few years in a row now. They've had production issues, and we'll look at the WASDE information. They're actually starting, and I've got a press release that I saw this week for them, that they're actually starting to ratchet down the amount of stocks companies can hold on hand. So we get India in the market buying wheat, potentially, stocks will get that much tighter worldwide, and we can see prices continue to go up. So that's kind of the hit on the export sales report. I'll just hit this press release, India deal. In order to manage the overall food security and to prevent hoarding of unscrupulous speculation, the government of India opposed stock limits on the wheat applicable to traders, wholesaler, retailers, big chain retailers, and processors for all states and union territories. Basically, they're just cutting back on what people can have on hand. They're not going to let them hoard it. And so I would start to think that the next steps, will be shopping the market, hopefully. So like I said, once we see that, we can see things starting to, it goes on to read, it's in effect from the 12th of June, 2023, applicable until the 31st of March, 2024, to soften the prices of wheat, which are showing an increasing trend. Central government has decided to revise the wheat stock limit from 3,000 metric tons to 2,000 metric tons with respect to traders and wholesalers and big chain retailers. So definitely news there that is confirming what people believed was an issue. If we move on to the page 17, this is just a very, very quick blurb from our trading house, and that's in regards to the monthly supply and demand report, USDA WASDE, that came out this week. I would say as an overall, corn, soybeans were neutral, somewhat bearish. Wheat was probably the most bullish of anything of the big three, pretty easily. And a lot of that is just with, worldwide stocks tightening. Australia's seeing the El Nino effects, we're starting to see that crop get written down farther and farther, trimming that off. Coming off 3 straight record crops, anything compared to those years is going to look smaller. I saw an interesting deal. It said, it seemed like for a week, all you saw is Australia's, fewer and fewer bushels, fewer and fewer tons coming out of Australia. Well, then the projection was still to be like the 8th largest crop in history. But when you put it in comparison, but we are seeing that come, and it's, they're a few months off from harvest still, so that crop could still continue to deteriorate. Right here says that we saw it decrease 3 million metric ton on their production. So we get another month or two reports where they trim at that, or even 1 to 2, then that significantly brings things down. The next one's just got the charts. Page 18 just shows you over third one in from the right is what this week's or this month's report was. The one right next to it, the August USDA, was last month's. And so you can see they went through and there was really no changes to wheat. That's US supply and demand. So they didn't really change anything at all from their August. But where they did make some changes was on the worldwide balance sheet, which is on page 19. And I didn't highlight these. These are what Ted did. And it looks like the dang copier cut those off. But beginning stocks is on the right. But those highlights, I believe those are production in the second column. You can see where if you compare the August to September numbers, that we're seeing a decrease in all those major exporting countries in their production. I guess it's pretty easy to get bullish when wheat price has been down where it is, that we're going to go higher, but numbers like this coming in there, it does give me, thought that we're going to continue to push forward. Other news, I guess yesterday afternoon, I got an email that the government was tendering for donation wheat. So that'll be a sale that'll go, they'll have to have their bids in next week, and it'll get announced probably Wednesday or Thursday. I'd have to double check the email, but that's usually the timing on it. That's more soft white being donated to Yemen. It was interesting though. It was only like 24,000 metric tons. It was pretty small for those. A lot of times you might see 3 different cargoes on there of that size. So it's a relatively small one, but again, it's increasing demand. We've been complaining we have zero demand. Nobody's buying anything, and incrementally step into it, even if it's the US government. You guys know I usually point it out. If we look at page 10, the government numbers don't show up on these because they're export sales. So if the government's buying it, it does not show up on this report. So the stuff that's showing there for Yemen is stuff that they have actually purchased. And we continue to see that through the years and I think I don't know if it's a deal that they've got with the government, that if they continue to buy on their own, then the government will continue to donate wheat as well. So it's kind of nice to see that it's a little bit of a two-way street there. With that, I don't know if I've got really anything market wise. Like I said, things are pushing up. Maybe it's time to look at some ladder orders on a few bushels. I mean, obviously we don't have to get crazy and sell the whole crop yet. I know there wasn't as much this year to be selling, but as we start getting closer to the $7 number, I had quite a few guys tell me that they figure between their insurance check and if they could get $7, that they could probably keep things going for another year here. So, and I would just say, remember, even if you see a sell opportunity now, don't let the calendar and the tax year fool you, because we've got ways to push that out if we need to. So try not to, I guess, do your marketing just based upon your tax planning. But anyway, with that, Mitch, did you have anything from Seed Plan or anything like that? Just there?
Things are going to start winding up here. So
yeah, I was down in Wasco the other day, and trucks in and out of there, both delivering, picking up, and it looked like the circus is beginning.
I think we're ahead of last year on preparedness, so
it
should look smoother.
Mitch reports that they're ahead of, shoot, during harvest, I know we were almost caught up on some of the cleaning and stuff was coming in. So hopefully things run smoother this year, and we always look to improve from year to year. With that, I will sign off here and let you guys get on with your Friday. Everybody have a safe weekend, and it might be one of our last 90-degree weekends, we can hope. So we will talk with you later.